Umpire Mag feed, and I can't wait to go across the pond to listen to Across the Pod, fresh out of Wales. Special stuff. Cheers.
Hello everyone, Andy here, and here's what you can look forward to in today's episode. In today's episode, in Team Season Preview 6 out of 32, I was joined by Chicago Bears fan Luke Campbell as we look ahead to the team's upcoming season.
I think the biggest shock was Drew Dalman retiring.
Luke is predicting a good season from Roe Madoons.
And I do agree with your assessment. I think DJ Moore moving on is a necessary evil to allow him to develop.
I asked Luke whether the comeback wins of last season can be sustainable this season. 7 of your 12 regular season victories were in games where you trailed in the final 2 minutes on the game. You got called the Cardiac Bears for a reason. And much more as Luke predicts the team's overall record in our win, loss or tie segment. Hope you all enjoy. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Across the Pod NFL podcast. I am as ever your host today, Andy Davis, and we are on Team Season Preview 6 out of 32. And a team, as you can see from the title of the episode, we are covering the Chicago Bears. And of course, if we're talking Bears on this podcast, there's only one man that we can go to for this. Back on the show today is one of our resident Bears fans in Luke Campbell. Luke, how are you?
I'm good, but something weird has happened to my iPad because apparently I'm sideways.
For those audio listeners, Luke is currently, looks like he's upside down. It's not sure what's going on.
I was down under, right? And I'm now back in Scotland, so maybe my iPad is getting confused about my actual my proper. Let me see if I can fix this. Hang on a second. Let's see. No, I can't fix it.
Oh no,
no. Let's try that and see. Oh, there we go. Hey!
He is back. He is back.
I thought I was going to have to spend a whole episode like this, which, would be fine, but I think I might get stuck like that, and that'll be that. But yeah, how you doing, mate? Good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Good to have you on. Good to have you back, and you are back obviously in the UK now, so I'll be hoping to see you in October.
You will. I believe the same steakhouse is being booked as we speak, in actual fact. So that's what we're talking about, right?
I not wait for that. I said it before, ever since I had it last year. Obviously, you weren't there last year, but...
I know, gutted, by the way, gutted.
It was literally the best steak I had in my life. I've had some good steaks, some bad steaks. I've not had a better steak than that in my life. I've had steaks since, none of them have even compared to that one we had in London. But hopefully this year, Chris remembers the evening.
Absolutely. And listen, I think we should approach that steakhouse for a sponsorship deal for your podcast, quite frankly, because they're getting free publicity. So if you're listening, Steakhouse in Leicester Square, Andy is open to sponsorship right now. And then he might name you. So come on, let's do this.
We could even record a show at the steakhouse. We could even record a podcast episode.
That's a plan. I like that.
I want to shout out friends of the show, the Franchise Tag. They've done shows before in Passaic in London. So maybe there's a market open for a steakhouse, steak and company. If you are listening in London, then please do get in touch. Because if you want to sponsor us, if you want to host a podcast episode from there, then please, by all means. And if you are going to do that, give me a free steak, medium sirloin, please.
Sounds like a plan, actually. Do you know what? They totally should do this, right? They totally should do it. I mean, it's like free money, really, at the end of the day. So I think that's a good deal for them. So Steak & Company, if you are listening, come on, let's do this. Come on.
Let's do it. But we are here to talk all things Chicago Bears. So looking at the ins and outs, we had some players return after being with the team last year. So you brought back the likes of Jalen Jones, Case Keenum, Braxton Jones, DeMarco Jackson, Elijah Hicks, also the likes of Jordan McFadden, Theo Benedict, and Daniel Hardy. And you signed in free agency the likes of Kobe Bryant from the Seahawks, fresh from winning the Super Bowl, Devin Bush, Khalif Raymond, Jedrick Wills, Cam Lewis, and you traded for the New England Patriots center, Garrett Bradbury, whereas players you saw depart the likes of Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Devin Duvernay, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Olamide Zacchaeus, and you also traded away wide receiver DJ Moore to the Buffalo Bills in exchange for a second-round pick from this draft just gone. And that draft pick was in the end taken. Actually, it was taken away. It was traded then to the Titans. But in the draft, you took safety Dylan Thieneman, safety out of Oregon, 25th overall, as well as center Logan Jones, 57th overall, as well as Sam Roche, tight end out of Stanford, as well as Davian Thomas, Malik Muhammad, Keyshawn Elliott, and Jordan Vandenberg. Luke, for you overall, your take on the team's off-season?
It's been a surprising off-season, let's just say that. I think that I think the biggest shock was Drew Dalman retiring, in all honesty. I think that was, for me, that was the big shock. I wasn't shocked that we traded DJ Moore, that had been talked about forever, and actually I think his role in the team had been naturally decreasing. And I felt like we got a reasonable deal for him actually in the end up, because it was a bit of a salary dump as well, so it kind of worked out for us. But Drew Dalman, losing him was a real blow. And although I think we've done all right in terms of replacements, I still, the jury's out a little bit in terms of how that works out. The draft actually was a strange one. Actually, I was really happy with free agency. First of all, with Kobe Bryant, I thought Kobe Bryant was a brilliant acquisition. And I think in terms of the draft, I was really happy with Dylan Thieneman. I think he is honestly brilliant. So I think what was really interesting was that was, in many ways, I don't know if we'll miss Kevin Byard as much. I feel like we've added a lot more pace. I mean, and speed and athleticism actually in the team from that point of view. I was disappointed we didn't add an edge rusher either in free agency meaningfully or in the draft, and I felt like that was a bit of a miss. But in truth, I think where we were picking, you kind of had to take the best available player. And I don't think you could. I thought we might trade down maybe and try and get a couple of extra picks, but actually, all told, I'm pretty happy that we picked Dylan Thieneman, because the guy is an absolute beast in terms of a player, and I just think he adds a lot more overall. So I'm really, really pleased with that. Generally speaking, the draft was a bit of a mixed bag, really. Logan Jones looks like a good prospect. There's talk of him being the top man. Sam Roush, time will tell. You might see a lot more 12, 2 or 3 tight end sets. I don't know whether he will end up. I don't know whether that means that Cole Kmet will eventually be traded before the season starts. It's certainly possible. I mean, I would, if I was the Bears, if they think highly of Sam Roush, then I think that's the play. Get some draft capital for Cole Kmet, but who knows whether that will be the case or not. And I've heard lots of good things, and Xavier Thomas might be good. You just never know. I mean, he's a third-round pick, so a lot of times wide receivers, it's a deep wide receiver class, so pretty happy with that as well overall. And the other picks, Muhammad, Elliott, and Vandenberg, it's potluck. It really is. But overall, I'm pretty bullish about the pre-season. I think although we've still got holes in the defence, I think we've changed it because we relied a lot on takeaways last season, and I don't think that's a sustainable metric overall. I just worry that we don't have enough edge rushing talent to really trouble opposing quarterbacks, and I think that might be an issue for us. So that's the only real major concern I've got. I feel like defensively up front, there's a few players coming back from injury, so we'll see. But overall, pretty optimistic. But I say that every year. Every year, if you record every single preview, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm optimistic, and then we go 4-12 or something stupid like that. But this year, although they're predicting regression, I'm not convinced that is the case. It's a hard division, yes, but I'm not convinced that we regress as much as people are saying. I honestly don't think so. Maybe I'm going to be wrong. I hope I'm not wrong. But I just feel like we're not going to regress as much as people are saying. In all honesty, I really don't. I think the continuity at head coach is going to make a lot of difference, and I feel like that is, underplayed in a lot of ways.
Well, you mentioned the word before, sustainable, and this kind of is a nice segue into my first question. Is last year in the NFL, obviously amazing season for the Bears, made it all the way to the divisional round, first playoff win in 15 years, and you did it against the biggest rivals in their house. But you had 7 of your 12 regular season victories were in games where you trailed in the final 2 minutes on the game. This was the most by any team since the 1970 NFL/AFL merger. This was done 6 times in the regular season as well as once in the postseason. As well as this, this was also look at kind of the scores you had last year. You won by 1 point in week 4, 1 point in week 6. You won by 5 points in week 9, 4 points in week 10, 2 points in week 11, 3 points in week 12. You won in overtime in week 16. And then, of course, we all know what happened in that comeback win against the Packers. Both those wins against the Packers you had were both comeback wins as well. Yes. I believe it was the largest comeback win in the wild card round history. That could be wrong. But either way, do you think this is sustainable? Because as good as it was and amazing as it was, and Williams was really good to watch, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Colston Lovett, it was an amazing season for the Bears to watch.
Yes.
And I'm sure for a fan, you loved it. But you got called the Cardiac Bears for a reason.
We did, yes.
And do you think having these constant wins where you come back late, whilst it shows character, it shows an ability as a team to come back in the biggest moments. Do you think that's sustainable, the way you kept winning these games late on in these amazingly dramatic fashion?
So the simple answer is no, it's not. The real answer is a bit more complex. So I think the real answer is we cannot afford to go behind in so many games. For instance, the big one in the Bengals game, for instance, was a great case in point. And the funny thing about these ones, I was watching it in a morning Australia time. So I'm surprised I never had a major heart attack before I even went to work, never mind anything else. It was nuts. And, I had it on like in my office sometimes when I was working. And I was trying really hard to have a sense of decorum when these crazy things were happening. But the answer really is that we have to be better at making sure that not only do we hang on to the ball well and stop them getting the ball, but actually be better in terms of chasing them down so that we're not getting behind and we're not, getting to the stage where we're having to chase it. And I think that is really the answer in terms of being nuanced about it. Now, I think there's a bit of a parallel thread here, so that there's kind of 2 aspects to it. I think offensively, they have to take the next step evolution-wise. And I think that is probably going to be the progression in Caleb Williams in particular. So improving his accuracy, for one thing, I think is one thing that if you see that, I think the reality is we'll not be behind in that many games, because the guy can move. He's got athleticism. He's got all the the traits of that you can see, and I think he even made progression last year. If he does it again, then I think that is a difference maker in itself, so you won't necessarily be behind as much. And I think the other thing is that Dennis Allen has to keep working his magic, and with his new team, he's probably changing his scheme, I would say. I mean, I think, or at least tweaking it based on the available people. So I would think, I would like to see the defense doing a little bit better, particularly on pressures on the opposing quarterback and stuff. I think that's the answer. You can't rely on takeaways all the time. Like last year, we relied totally on takeaways and stuff. That's not sustainable in itself. So those, I think, are the key things to make it more sustainable. So it's progression in Caleb in his game, making the most of obviously who you have on the pitch. And by the way, who we've got on there is amazing. Burden's brilliant. He's already shown huge promise. I think Odunze is immense. I think Colston Loveland is tremendous as well. So you've got 3 proper weapons, and then running back wise, DeAndre Swift, yes, he's good, and he had a great season. He needs to carry that on, and Monungai looks the piece as well in terms of a complementary part. So there's lots there that are good. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I think I know it's a long-winded answer, but that's kind of my take on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, you think about what happened with the Seahawks, it took the star receiver to go away in DK Metcalf to allow JSN to flourish and become Offensive Player of the Year. And you know, there's potential there that with obviously DJ Moore now moving to the Bills, we could see Romadoons have some sort of similar-esque season. I'm not expecting to have the same stats as JSN. That was an amazing freak season. But this could be, even though it's obviously gutting to lose DJ Moore, it might be the move that helps the Dunes becoming the number one receiver in the Bears really fulfill his talent.
Listen, he's a number one round, a first round pick for a reason, right? And he's shown that a lot. And I think, I really feel like he's the WR1, and I think he has shown, in strong patches. Yes, he was playing hurt for a while last year, which didn't help him, and he missed, some time. But I think he is a legitimate weapon, and I do agree with your assessment. I think DJ Moore moving on is a necessary evil to allow him to develop. And I think what you've got then is complementary pieces there to help you kind of, help him reach that potential. And the other thing as well is it helps from a salary cap perspective, which won't last forever, right enough, but you do have to use it while you're there. And I think, but I do think he's got great potential. Time will tell to see how many yards he comes away with, but I would like to think that, I would buy him right now in every league I have, without a doubt. But let's just say that.
Well, there is one elephant in the room. Taylor Williams, after an amazing season, has been announced as the Madden cover athlete for the.
I know.
Now, do you worry about the Madden curse? Because we've seen many athletes have this issue. Now, we've had some artists, some athletes that have overcome the curse. A recent example was Patrick Mahomes. He was on the cover and then, won the Super Bowl. But there's been examples, obviously the big examples you can think of are Antonio Brown, who's probably the poster boy of it. The likes of Peyton Hillis struggled with it. And then there's the likes of Torn Alexander was one of the biggest ones being affected. But then the last couple of years, we saw McCaffrey become the cover star in Madden 25. That 2024 season, he had his injury problems. And then fast forward to the following year, where Saquon Barkley became the cover athlete after winning the Super Bowl, 2,000 yards, only got 7 touchdowns. I say only, that's still pretty good, but he was just way off what we saw from before, and the Eagles as a whole were off. Does that worry you? I know it's a lot of it probably has nothing to do with this. I mean, I do believe in curses, but there's also a world where these things don't exist. It's probably not a Madden curse. But does that worry you at all about how good the season was last year? What I mentioned before about these comeback wins, whether it's sustainable, the fact it's the cover of Madden, does that concern you at all about this Madden curse?
I mean, I'd be foolish not to admit to a little bit of trepidation, let's put it that way, because obviously you do worry that things like that. And for me, what I think is interesting about the Madden thing is that it depends on the character of the person that's on there. So, for instance, Antonio Brown's a good example, right? That guy had such a big ego that it was literally the size of Jupiter, right? So anything like that boosts his ego is probably a bad thing, for the locker room and for him. And I think it's proven that he probably wasn't necessarily the best locker room person. Let's just maybe say that as a summary. But I don't know if it'll affect. I mean, I'd like to think that it wouldn't change how he prepares, because I feel like Caleb's quite grounded in that sense, that he's pretty professional. I know he gets a lot of stick for all this stuff like wearing whatever it is on his fingernails, but actually in terms of how he prepares and stuff, I wouldn't have any concerns about that changing him and turning him into sort of Billy Bighead. I don't think that's the case at all. But I'd be stupid if I didn't think there was a level of worry that the curse might strike. Let's just say that. So fingers crossed. Come on, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we saw Matt Nagy have a great first year with the Bears, took them to the playoffs. Really, and I'm sure that game you don't want to be brought up again, the double doink game. The following year, or pretty much the rest of the time of Matt Nagy's tenure in Chicago, didn't have much success, and there's always that fear where, Ben Johnson had an amazing first year, but of course, second year and all that, teams start to figure out teams' plans more. There's obviously that fear as well. The fact that we've seen it before. We've seen Matt Nagy take the Bears to the playoffs, and albeit Ben Johnson's actually won a playoff game, could have easily lost that 9 times out of 10.
I mean, I think Ben Johnson is an entirely different beast, in all honesty, and I think although you could say, oh yeah, you can kind of work out his scheme. The truth is, he's been doing it for a long time, and I'm not sure people have necessarily worked his scheme out. I mean, they know how he's going to play, right? They know the kind of, he has some crazy ass 4-and-1s last year, for example, that were, 4th down plays that were like nuts but brilliant at the same time. If they work, they're brilliant. If they don't work, it's terrible. But I wouldn't change that for a second, because it's a wild ride as part, in having an offensive-minded coach like that. I'm not convinced that people will figure him out as such, because I do feel like he changes his scheme to kind of, take advantage of various defences. I would say that, I think. And it's interesting, because in some conversations with some defensive-minded kind of NFL guys, they've said it's interesting watching his offences and how they line up, and they find it hard even to call how he's going to play it at times. And I think that's a sign. If the defences are finding it tough to call, then that means they're not really figuring it out, even if they're watching lots of tape. So I don't think Johnson's in the same league as Nagy, to be honest with you. And I think Nagy's been found out, actually, to be honest with you as well, because I don't think he's been great since that time. He's had 1 or 2 flash in the pans, but he's not a head coach for a reason. Let's say that.
Yeah, that is totally fair. Well, let's head to our final section, which is our well-known win, loss, or tie. So for those who are new to the podcast, and if you can, please do listen to the first 5. We've done 5 teams so far. We've had the Lions, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Ravens, the Browns, and now the Bears. So do check out those ones and who those fans predicted where their teams would go. But Luke, you came on a course a year ago, and the Bears did go 11-6 in 2025. Do you by chance remember what your prediction was 12 months ago for your Bears?
Oh, I think I might have been unusually optimistic. Typically optimistic. I might have gone like 12 wins, I think, if I remember.
No, 10-7. So you
okay, well, there you go. I wasn't that optimistic. I think I might have changed my rationale. I'm going super optimistic this year, by the way.
Well, of course, you were only 1 win off predicting it right. So you weren't far off that. Week 1 starts on the road as you travel to the Bank of America Stadium and you take on the Panthers. Luke, win, lose, or tie?
Oh, that's a tough one. I actually quite like the Panthers, and actually one of my friends in Oz was a big Panthers fan, and we used to love talking football. But I think we're going to win that, actually. I think it'll be tight, but I think we'll win it.
Well, week 2 is your home opener, and it's an NFC North battle as you host the Vikings.
Win all day long. Let's do this. Come on.
Well, week 3 is a game that's going to be, I'd love to know if you're going to watch it with a friend of ours who's going to be on the Eagles podcast, Steve McGuinness. We're taking on the Philadelphia Eagles at Soldier Field.
Oh, now, that is actually the toughest one. I know what Steve's going to say. He's going to say the Bears are going to win. That's what he's going to say, right? I am going to take us to win at Soldier Field, actually, because I'm not convinced the Eagles are going to be as good this year. So I'm going to say that now. Steve's going to hate me for saying it, but I'm not as convinced that they will be absolutely tip-top this year.
And are you going to try and watch it with him? I know obviously you don't live in the Isle of Man anymore, but are you going to try and... Because I feel like you obviously do a very good friends, you go back for years. You've got to try and find this.
So let's just say negotiations are beginning for a potential visit. Let's just say that there is. I have to check with the boss if you see what I mean, to see if it's an option. So I have that. I can work remotely, so there's not a problem going actually, and I could work remotely on Monday. But I would love to do it actually, because it's about time. We go round to Chrissy's house, and I typically throw a whole bag of popcorn all around the place, and I feel like I'm missing that. So I feel like I have to go and revisit that one time. So it's got to happen throughout this season for sure.
Fair play, fair play. Well, week 4, you are staying at home for the 3rd time in a row in the season so far. You are hosting the New York Jets.
That's a win for us.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Easy. Week 5 should be interesting. This is one where you are facing the team that you probably dislike more than any other team. You are travelling to Lambeau Field and taking on your biggest rivals, the Packers.
So, this depends on a certain person and what his injury status is. So, my gut feel is that he won't be back in time. I know that they're saying Parsons will be targeting coming back then. I don't think he'll be ready, because honestly, I think the timeline is too tight. If he doesn't play, we win. It'll be tight, but I think we win. If he plays, that's a different story. But I'm going to go for the win, because I want us to start 5-0. I want us just to do it. Come on. Yeah, I think we're going to win at Lambeau. Because I don't think Parsons will be back. I don't think he'll be ready. And if he is, I don't think he'll be playing a full snap count.
That's fair. I think that's going to, I think, potentially cost the Packers come the end of the season. Week 6 is a potential game against a guy that I am so glad is no longer in South Beach, Tua Tagovailoa and the Falcons.
Oh man, I am going to be so. This is a trap game right there, right? This is a complete and utter trap game, right? Because I should just be saying win all day long. In my head, though, there's a bit of me saying this is a trap game. Tough call. Oh, I'm going to say win, because I just want us to be optimistic and win loads of games. So let's just do this. I'm going to end up being 17-0, right? And it's going to be brilliant.
Well, week 7 is a game against the current AFC champions and New England Patriots.
Oh, that's a tough one. We might lose that actually. That's a tough one. They've got a lot of really talented roster there, so I'm worried about that game.
That is interesting. I thought we were going to get 17-0. I thought you were actually going to do it and not predict the loss all season.
I was tempted. I still am. 16-1's fine.
Yeah. For a team that did so well, you've got a fairly favourable schedule. But well, week 8, you go from the AFC champions to the team that they lost to in the Super Bowl. You've got the Seattle Seahawks on the road.
Oh my gosh, that I'm afraid is an L. I just can't see us win that. It might end up being a shootout, who knows? But they are still formidable on both sides. So I think that, and especially in Seattle, that's a tough one. I think that's an L, unfortunately. I just think so, sadly.
So I'm so excited for this game. This game could be insanely good. I think you got the defense, the Seahawks, the Dark Force. You've got obviously Williams. You've got obviously a guy that loves to escape attack, and this could be a really good game. And if this is Thursday night, I'll be flying to, I think, Madrid. It's Madrid or Berlin or Munich. Either way, I'll be flying to the international game. So that'll be on kind of the late hours. I'll be watching.
Yeah.
But that is some game. I think that's going to be amazing. Week 9, before you got your week 10 bye, you face a home game against the Bucks.
Again, another one that I mean, don't underestimate the Bucks, right? I mean, it's not a particularly strong division, but you've got to like what they do. I'm going to go win though. I'm going to go win because I just feel like we'll beat them. I feel like it's going to happen, but it's a trap game again. You know, they're one of the teams that you underestimate. You really at your peril, really, honestly. Well,
week 11, you've had your bye week in week 10. You take on, at home, the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, that's a win. That's a win. Absolutely. Yeah. they're not the team they were.
Well, week 12 is a game against, on the road, the Lions.
My heart says win. My head says lose. Damn it.
Hey. And that is also Thanksgiving as well. That is also
I know.
Thanksgiving slate. So the Lions actually have a really poor Thanksgiving record, but I think they'll bounce back this year. So, well, week 13, you are then taking on in what is a repeat of the game that I actually had the pleasure of sitting in the press box watching you react in full to the game. You are taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars at Soldier Field.
And again, actually, I like what the Jags are doing. Actually, I do. I think I was impressed with them last year. I thought they were much improved. I think we might have too much for them at Soldier Field, so I think that's a win. But I think it'll be closer than people think, actually, because I do like what they're doing. But it'll be close, like a one-score game.
Well, week 14 is where you've got to be careful of your answer, and I have got the mute button ready. You are travelling to the Miami Dolphins.
Mate, I'm really sorry, but this year you guys are going to suck massively. We're talking Tommy McTank face. That's what we're talking about. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, mate. I know. Honestly, I just feel I have a bad feeling about you this season. I think it's a win for us. I just have such a bad feeling. I think they're going to give it a sterling effort, but I just can't see you can be competitive this year. I just can't see it. But you never know. Maybe they'll have a difference. But
no,
I think it's tough, mate. I think it's going to be a tough year.
There is literally, and I apologise to my girlfriend in advance here, there's more chance of me spending the night with Dua Lipa than the Dolphins having a good season. It's not looking good. I think when you got A-Chain involved in your team, you probably win games or at least run teams close.
Yeah.
And I do think Malik Willis has been dealt an awful hand. But I do think he might have some good plays. And I'm hoping they brought him in with the acceptance of it's going to be a tough first year.
Yeah.
I don't believe that morally they could bring some guy in with the intention of, all right, we're going to play this guy just to tank. I kind of feel like they know him from Green Bay. I feel like they feel that he is a guy for the future, but they want to. They might be accepting a first year. If they're accepting the first year is going to be tough, then I'm absolutely fine with that because they've got a clear plan in place. They can get an elite receiver or an elite defensive lineman in the next draft. But it's tough. We saw him in Tennessee in a poor team, but we saw him thrive with good coaching. So it's all depending on, I think personally, how good the coaching is of Jeff Hartford. But
I agree with you. I agree with you. And I mean, actually, I actually rate Willis. I think he's good. I think the problem that he has is the supporting cast at the moment is not as. I mean, apart from a Chaina who I think is great, but I just genuinely think there's not enough talent around them to really make a difference. But like you say, maybe you accept that one down year to get you some good draft talent and maybe you make some plays to get some draft picks when you know it's a good year and you can turn around quite quickly. Do you know what I mean? So I think maybe that might be a strategy. You might see some moves getting made to sort out the salary cap as well, apart from anything else. But if you get younger, hungrier players, it can make a huge difference.
Absolutely, and thank God the Jets are in our division. Well, speaking of the AFC East, going from one extreme to the other, you are then facing a road trip to the Buffalo Bills and their brand new stadium.
Now, because that actually could be a snow game as well, couldn't it? So that keeps it interesting too. And I love a good snow game, don't you? I don't know about you, but like when you see the snow games in Buffalo, you think, oh, that's awesome. Let's do this. But yeah, I actually think we might sneak a win out of that. And I'll tell you why, because I just feel like the Bills are a very, very good team, but they've gone through a little period of change, and that could go one of two ways. And I'm not I'm not totally convinced that it might go the way that they hope. And I'm going to apologise to Ollie, who's another friend of ours from the Fantasy League, when I say this, and probably someone that I work with who's a big member of the Bills Mafia. But I feel like Ollie and Caitlin are going to be very disappointed this year, because I'm not convinced that they're going to be as good as they're hoping for. Because, I think they were quite... I felt they were maybe foolish to pull the trigger, to be honest. I still think that, actually.
Well, I really hope you're right. A lot of things I hope you say are true, but this is, for me personally, the thing I want to be true the most out of anything you said in this last hour. Well, Week 16 is possibly... I'm so excited for this. This is my favourite fixture in the entire season. It's Bears-Packers at Soldier Field, but it's on Christmas Day and 12 p.m. Eastern, so that is 5 p.m. in the UK. What a prospect. That for me is amazing. We get to see Bears-Packers on Christmas Day, and that is at a decent time as well. That, for me, I don't know whether some people might think that's going to be an awkward time because family is still over. Maybe 9 p.m. is better to have on Christmas Day. But for me, I'm looking at that thinking, right, as a neutral as well, I've got no real horse in the race. Obviously, I want the best one. I've always liked the Bears. But, that is, to have Bears-Packers on Christmas Day at a decent time as well. It's going to be a day game. It's going to be light, which I love day games. That, for me, is such an exciting prospect.
Oh, mate, I'm excited about it, I must say. And I think the best thing about it being on at 5 o'clock is there's a far less chance of me being in a turkey and trifle-fueled coma at that stage, whereas 9 o'clock at night, I'm sort of watching it with one eye open, going, oh, I'm not going to sleep, I'm fine. So I think 5 o'clock is actually the optimal time to watch it. And to be honest, if my mum's down visiting, I'll be driving her home at about 4 o'clock. And saying either you're staying until the game finishes or you're getting the lift home at 4, and that's the way it is. And there'll be no explanation, she'll understand. But I'm excited about it. I think it's a real proper exciting fixture, and I think it's going to be a cracker as well, actually. I really do. I think everyone is up on the Packers this year, which I think is interesting in itself, actually. I'm not sure the evidence supports it, but let's see what happens. But I think we're going to win that one. I think we're going to do the sweep over Packers this year. I think you're going to see a new mayor of Lambeau Field. That's what I'm going to say.
You know what? That talk of trifle has got me really excited because my grand's trifle is my favourite part of the day. It's amazing. So,
isn't it?
Shout out to my gran if you are listening. I can't wait for that trifle already. Bring it on. Moving on, though, that was your final game of the calendar year of 2026. So Week 17 starts in 2027, and it's your final home game of the regular season as you host the Detroit Lions.
I'm going to go win because I think at that stage we'll need a win to really seal not only playoff progression, but this could be the divisional decider before the final game of the season. This actually could be legitimately, if both teams are playing well, you could see that actually being the one where the winner takes all with a game to spare, in all honesty, because I just have that feeling, and I know everyone's up in the Packers, but honestly, I think it's between us and the Lions this year for the divisional title. I like the Lions a lot, I think they're good, but I think they're beatable too, so I think we win that, and we seal the division at that stage. Yes, come on.
You know what? I know we'll be getting our predictions in later on. You'll be hearing Luke again come near the time. We'll be doing our annual season predictions. I think you're right. If the Packers had Parsons all year, then I think they'd be involved in the mix. But I think without him, I think this could be a bit of a down year for the Packers, and I do believe we could even see him finish bottom of that division. It all depends on whether Kyler Murray turns up in that NFC North.
Exactly.
I think even he could be a comeback player of the year nominee. But no. Let's lead though. Speaking of Kyler Murray, in Week 18, you travel to the Minnesota Vikings for the final time this episode, Luke. Win, lose, or tie?
See, if my prediction is true, right, then we have basically won the division with a game to spare, right? So we are like, do you know what? Nobody needs to play. We'll basically put our third stringers in, never mind our second stringers, to protect them. That being said, I want to be real about it and I want to be realistic. So I think the Vikings are going to suck massively this year. Even with Kyler Murray in, I don't see them being as good as they think. I think O'Connell's not going to be the quarterback whisperer everyone thought. I think he loses that and then he gets fired at the end of the season. There you go.
So you're saying you're going to win that last game?
We're going to win that last game. Let's do this. Yes.
So that means that according to your predictions today, the Bears are going to go 14-3 in the regular.
Come on. You know it. You know it's real. I told you I was optimistic this year, right? 14-3 is optimistic, but I'm standing by this. This is happening. Telling you.
Hey. And if you were to go 14-3 and you make the playoffs, how far are you predicting the team goes in the postseason?
Let's just say that I have some bets on. I'm confident I've got proper money bets on both the championship and the Super Bowl. And I'm feeling good about it because I honestly felt as strong as the Rams were, they were there for the taking and we should have beaten them actually. If DJ Moore had run that route properly at the end, for instance, I actually think we would have beaten them right at the end because they were there for the taking. They really were. And yes, they're stronger this year, but I feel like we've got a legitimate chance of at the very least getting to the championship game, and then anything can happen in the championship game, in all honesty. Do you know what I mean? And I really think that, and I know that's blind optimism, but as a Bears fan, you have to keep believing. We've gone through so much through the ringer that when there's a glimmer of hope, you've got to grip it with all your might and go with it. So my optimism is going to go undimmed this year. Let's rock. Come on, bear down.
Well, the optimism is high ahead of that season, and this Bears fan, Luke, you are clearly very excited for the season. But that is where we will end this episode for today, our team season preview, 6 out of 32. Luke, first of all, huge thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Always a pleasure to do the pod with you, actually. I love it.
Well, as always, love having you on. Always a great guest. Always full of life. Always full of beans. And yeah, looking forward to having you on again near the time for our annual season prediction episode. I believe it is our maybe 5th year or 6th year.
That's right.
Prediction. So, yeah, exciting stuff. Looking forward to that, of course, with Steve, who will be appearing in some point, we're hoping, provided no issues with availability, within the next 7 days, you'd have heard Steve's appearance on the podcast come on the show. And yeah, stay tuned for that as well later on in the off-season for that predictions episode. But in the meantime, this has been the Across the Pod NFL podcast, our Chicago Bears 2026 season preview. I have been, as ever, your host today, Andy Davis, and our guest today in Bears fan, Luke Campbell. And we'll see you guys for our next team season preview. Take care.